And now I've flipped this Fishman around. We're going to take a look at the back panel. Now right off the bat, all the way to the left here, we have what's called a tweeter level. You can actually customize the mix between the 6-inch speaker and the 1-inch tweeter. That's a nice feature. The tweeter has a very distinct tone to it. It really gets the attack of the strings on the acoustic instruments, really gets that high end that entails that attack as well. So to be able to adjust it down to -6 decibels or all the way to 0 decibels, that's pretty good. Just to the left of it, we have an auxiliary input. That's nice if you want to plug in any other type of recording. If you're taking a break on a set and you want to put on some music, something like that, you can plug it right in there, or a keyboard, something like that. There's a mute foot switch that basically would allow you to mute the unit. That's a nice feature, especially if you're encountering feedback problems. You can turn off the amp instantly. It's nice for in between songs and in between sets. You can just turn it off. Right next to that, we have a tuner output. That's a nice feature. A lot of times if you put your tuner in the signal chain of all your effects or of your guitars, it may diminish the sound quality. So having an actual output for tuner bypasses that scenario completely. That's a nice feature. And as you can see, we're plugged right into the main direct out. And if you notice, there's actually 3 direct outs for this amp. I think that's really cool. That's really good for live stuff. If you have your vocals plugged into channel 2 and your guitar plugged into channel 1, and you show up with this amp and you already have all your mixes all set on the amp, you haven't touched it, you can plug it in, do your gig, and the sound guy can just plug into these 2 and get independent mixes, for a bigger sound system. That's a really nice feature. And as you notice, each channel has an effects loop, a send and a return for each channel. So all in all, Fishman really did it up with this amp. It doesn't sound bad. It's got that real kind of piezo acoustic high end, which a lot of people desire. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like you guys know, I'm more of a jazz guy myself. But for the price and the fact this thing weighs about 23 pounds or so, maybe a little bit more, that's a lot of features for that amount of weight. That's something that I take into account. I don't have the best back, and carrying around a lot of gear, doesn't really work out when you don't have the best insurance policy. So having a light amp that can do a lot of different things like this would be very ideal for, like I said earlier, a lot of folk artists, a lot of people who play in duos with vocalists and acoustic instruments, which is a lot of people out there. So I think this amp has a good audience out there, and it seems to be very solidly built. There's not too much negative things I can add on it because everything worked. The anti-feedback worked. The effects sounded pretty decent. It's got the types of features that I would require as a professional performing musician, like pads and the 3 DI outputs, having phantom power. These are all really, really, really great things, especially having the effects loop for each channel. That's kind of what sold me. That's pretty cool. So if you check it out, it's called the Fishman Loudbox 100 Acoustic Guitar Amplifier. Thanks for watching.